Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Enterprise Metaverse Summit. This is Vaibhav Sehgal, and today I'm joined by Robert Pepper, the head of Global Connectivity Policy and Planning at Meta. And we're going to be discussing what it really takes for countries to build a successful metaverse that benefits individuals and societies around the world. Pepper, first things first, in the simplest of terms, how would you describe the metaverse, and is the lack of consensus around its definition a cause for concern?
So, hi, Vaibhav, and thanks for inviting me to do this. Um, so the metaverse, the way I think about the way we think about it, it's the next generation of the internet, and so it's including more presence, embodied presence. Some people talk about um, the immersive nature of the metaverse, and all of these things are components and pieces. But it's really the embodiment and the presence and the enhanced presence of participation beyond what we're doing now, right? Which is a two-dimensional video. It's a much more inclusive, much more immersive experience, and it doesn't bother me at all that there's not a very specific, finite, locked down definition. Look, if we went back 15 years and talked about the internet and what the future of the internet would be 15 years hence today, there are a lot of things that people would not have included. It's evolving. It's going to change over time. So it doesn't bother me at all that there's not some finite, defined, specific definition, because it's going to change. It's going to evolve. And I think that's actually a really good thing.
That's extremely interesting. But one of the major gaps in discourse is really any a lack of any sense of measurement. So it's kind of hard to understand where the goalposts are, how countries get there. And I think at this point it's probably meaningful to describe or introduce the Economist Impact Initiative supported by Meta. This very foundational research program aimed at developing a cross country benchmarking framework, or really a country diagnostic tool, which gives countries and various metaverse ecosystem participants within the countries quite specific and measurable guidance based on indicators and enabling factors that they really need to prioritize in order to build a successful metaverse experience. Pepper, could you share some of your views, some of your thoughts on the importance and the value of this foundational research program that we're undertaking?
Sure. It's interesting, Vaibhav. As you know, we partnered together going back beginning in 2016, 2017 with a project called the Inclusive Internet Index. And we worked together to figure out what are the components and then the indicators of a successful inclusive internet. And at that time, back then, what we identified were these components and indicators of those components as falling into four baskets. And by the way, we identified 54, 55 indicators, and they were clustered into these four baskets. The first was availability. The second was affordability. The third was relevance, and the fourth was readiness. So what do those things mean? And by the way, this is going to be really the extension of the Inclusive Internet Index and this work we're talking about today for the metaverse. If you think about the metaverse as the extension, the next generation, the next, internet, if you will, the future of the internet. And within those components, the first thing back then, right, because the project started really with a question about what's the state of connectivity. And we were thinking about connectivity as just the availability of being able to be connected. But what we learned very quickly was that it wasn't just about the supply side of being able to be connected, but it also began to include components and indicators of why people would be connected, how they would use the internet, and most importantly, in defining inclusion, how people in society would benefit from being connected to the internet. And all of those things form the basis, really the foundation for the work that we're doing now on the metaverse. What are the components of a successful metaverse? What are the indicators of achieving those components for a successful, inclusive metaverse? And that's the work, and that's really the foundation. This is very foundational. Um, we don't really fully understand. That's why we're doing the work. What are all of those components? And they're going to change over time. And then what are the indicators of have we achieved, having those components for a successful metaverse available?
There's just building on that exactly same discussion. So I think the importance is of course very clear, but different countries, might be at different points in their journeys, and they might have varying priorities. Their journeys might look entirely different as they pursue, this ambitious effort to actually build a successful metaverse, ensure that it benefits people, societies more broadly. What are some of the key ways in which you think um, country journeys or priorities might differ?
You're absolutely right. Different countries are in sort of different stages on the journey, and this is a journey to the metaverse. This is not flicking a switch. It's not here today. This is a journey of 5, 10, 15 years and beyond. Just like with the internet, we saw, the internet, and we expect the metaverse and metaverse uses and applications will develop in some countries before others. And so it's not so much the difference, but it's really that of different components, but rather it's the sort of the time over which those things will become available. So if we look at uh, affordability, for example, you know, higher income countries, people in high income countries will be able to afford metaverse devices and applications and uses sooner than people in lower income countries, just because the costs have to come down the cost curve. And so with affordability, the goal is to make all of those things more affordable so that people in lower income countries will be able to afford them. And that's going to take time. And so, what will be needed to make the metaverse affordable, more affordable, will be different in high income countries than in lower income countries. And it's going to be more important in lower income countries. So, same thing with skills. In terms of relevance, the types of content. And so, not one size does not fit all. The roadmap to a successful, inclusive metaverse is going to be different in different countries. And that's to be expected. And that's one of the big lessons we learned from the Inclusive Internet Index. The goal, just like with the 3I report, the Inclusive Internet Index report, the goal is everybody needs to be connected to the internet, and that's what internet inclusion is about, because everybody will benefit from being included and on the internet. It's the same thing with the metaverse. The metaverse is not just for one country or one segment of the population. The benefits of the metaverse are so important and huge over time that it will be important, just like with the internet, that everybody have an opportunity to be connected, use, and benefit from the metaverse. It's going to take time, and different countries are going to have different challenges in order to achieve that.
That's extremely interesting. I think just this almost explains our selection of methodology here. Why did we go for an index based or a benchmarking methodology? There's a few things, right? It is a really strong diagnostic tool that countries can use, to identify some of the major gaps, or these are the more well-governed areas. Perhaps we need to turn our attention towards something else. And I think it's also great in terms of examples-based learning. So you can look at what other countries that were dealing with similar issues have done, and seek inspiration that way. You don't always have to kind of start from scratch or reinvent the wheel, which is why we thought benchmarking is probably the right way to go. Um, Going back again to the components very quickly, I think there's no question that availability is certainly necessary for mainstreaming or widespread adoption later on. But in your mind, Pepper, what are some of the other major drivers that would encourage widespread adoption and also the use of metaverse technologies?
That's a great point. And by the way, I love your use of the word diagnostic, because that's exactly how we've used the Inclusive Internet Index, and we anticipate using the Metaverse Inclusive Index as well. So one of the things that we learned was that first, availability is important. That's sort of table stakes. But today, the networks are there, the connectivity is there, and what we saw with the internet was that there was a shift from supply side, which was availability, and what people called the coverage gap, to the usage gap. It shifted from availability to adoption, use, and benefit. And that's what we frankly anticipate with the metaverse. It's going to be the demand side. Why are people going to be connected? How are they going to use it? And when we look at the demand side issues, which is, why should I care? Why should I be connected? Why should I get on the metaverse? It's the demand side. It's applications and uses, education, for example. Education using the VR, AR, mixed reality applications with the devices. It's a completely different experience than a two-dimensional Zoom lesson. In fact, there have been studies that have shown that using metaverse applications, actually, empirically using testing, students do better. They learn better. In the workforce, right? Using the metaverse technologies for digital twins. Yesterday and today, it's all about enterprise uses. Having digital twins for training. For example, people who are electricians or working on electric vehicles, right? As we're all moving to EVs, if you're a mechanic working on an EV and you get it wrong, you can be electrocuted. And so you can train using digital twins in the metaverse and over and over, and training for safety, worker safety. These are the types of, that's an industrial enterprise use, but it's a demand driver. This is how it's going to be adopted. So it's really about adoption. And then also, one of the things that we've learned, and we anticipate here as well, on the readiness side, digital literacy, the ability to use the metaverse, the workforce training to create metaverse applications that will then drive demand. And so if we're looking at the adoption side, the use side, the benefit side, these demand side components that are the drivers for why should I care, either as an individual, a family, a community, a business, a government. These are the things that make a huge difference in the adoption and use of the metaverse. And just back to really quickly to your point about diagnostic. One of the things that we have done, as I mentioned, is we've used on a country level, we've used the results of the Inclusive Internet Index in engagements with policymakers. I mean, there are countries that we meet with on an annual basis, right? A minister of communications that wants to benchmark their country and having meetings with their leadership teams to help them make a number one benchmark any success that they've had with their national digital strategies, how to modify their national digital strategies, how to measure their success, measure where they have advantages, and then identify gaps where they can actually make improvements and move the needle. So there are policymakers that are using this as really the diagnostic, as you put it, to help them develop their strategies. And we anticipate the same thing with the Metaverse Inclusive Index.
Fantastic. Pepper, we're really excited to undertake this foundational research initiative. We have a background paper that is being published Wednesday. And thank you so much for your time. I think you really made the concept a lot more relatable. Hopefully, our audience feels the same way. Thanks again, Pepper.
No, thank you, and look forward to all the work we do together and collaborate. Thank you.